Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Jermaine Morgan TV. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you about why many bass players don't land the lick. So stay tuned. Hey guys, and welcome back to another lesson. Do me a favor, if you're new to this channel, go ahead and press the subscribe button and turn on my notifications. And also, while you're at it, go ahead and like this video. It helps it be found by more people just like you. As usual, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you guys. Okay, so jumping right into today's lesson, I want to talk about something that I had come up with a student of mine on the other day. And just so you guys know, I do offer one-on-one, I call them coaching calls, because we get a little bit more in depth than just a regular lesson. I'm able to kind of help coach musicians and bass players along, and not just only limited to this bass, but to give overall career advice and some different things. So if you want to know more about that, I will put that in the description below. But getting into this lesson, as I was saying, one of the things that came up, this particular student was saying, sometimes I have a hard time landing the line or landing the riff or whatever that I'm trying to play inside of the groove. And something that I picked up on when I started listening to my student play, they would play the groove and the groove would be solid. They would play the line and the riff or the lick, and the lick would be solid. But when they try to put it all together, it's like they stop and there's these gaps and that kind of thing. And so it made me really think about something. The reason why most people who are trying to learn how to incorporate all this stuff, I know many of you guys who are attracted to this channel came because of the riffs and licks, or you came because of me showing whatever the lick of the week was. And so you came to learn a lot of riffs and that kind of thing. But the problem that you may have, if you're somebody that's suffering from this, is when you get ready to put it all together, you have no idea how to mesh it together. Or you can play them separately, but when you get ready to put it in the groove, you always fold. So I want to give you some tips today on how to help you to get around that so that you don't continue doing that same thing. So over the years, one of the things that I come to notice, because I do play multiple instruments and I've been around other musicians to see how they practice, I kind of, you guys know, I really pull from the drums a lot. You know, in my mind, I'm a drummer in my mind. I can really play drums in my head. I can play okay, but in my head, like I'm like Dennis Chambers in my mind. One thing that I come to notice about drummers, when drummers are learning a particular chop, most of the time they're learning that chop in the context of the groove. Most good drummers are putting that chop immediately. They start putting it in the context of the groove. They may slow down and just learn the basic fundamentals of what it is, but it's not long before they start incorporating it into a groove. Just say, for instance, I'll take a random groove. You have a drummer that's playing something like, all right, so that's the context, or that's the meat and potatoes of the groove that they're playing. So if they're trying to work out a chop, so if they're doing that, if that's their groove, so we got 1, 2, 3. So they're going to put that immediately in the context of the groove. So let's go. So they immediately start working that, whatever that riff or whatever that chop is, they immediately start working it into a groove. And what you'll see drummers do, they'll start picking it up. They'll do the same thing. And after a while, after they get through playing that particular chop at its basic level, they'll start adding other elements into that. So they'll do stuff like what we would consider like ghost notes and that kind of thing. So they'll add that in once they get the foundation of the chop established. So they'll start adding like, so now you have, so now they're starting to build a little bit more stuff, and then as they work it up to speed, you got. So now you see they have a really good working chop. It's something simple, but they're putting those elements, they're putting those elements together and they're building block upon block upon block, but it's all within the context of the groove. And I know you're all saying, okay, Jermaine, that's great, but what does that have to do with bass? It has everything to do with bass, because like the drummers, we're laying that foundation down for the song. So oftentimes when we're playing something, we don't practice in that same context. We'll figure it out. So like we'll go let's take something easy like the minor pentatonic. Let's go to bass player's favorite key, E. All right, so if we take the E minor pentatonic, That's something that a lot of bass players pull from. A lot of times we'll work out the chop or the lick. You know what I'm saying? But oftentimes we won't put that in the context of a groove. So if we take that same approach that the drummers take and start trying to work it in the context of the groove, immediately once we figure out the notes, instead of going, that helps me to land and thinking ahead, because now I know that I'm going to try to land on an open note or a lower register, but it really doesn't matter. I can go high register or low register. The most important thing is landing the downbeat so that I'm still right on the money with the groove. So let's put it into context the same way that we would have done with that drum groove. So we have You see what I'm saying? So something that's simple, that's a very, very simple line, very simple minor pentatonic, down to that open E. And so once we get comfortable with that, we can start adding variation, start experimenting with some different stuff. So notice that time, I kind of added a couple of extra things in there, but I still was right on that downbeat. So I'm still aware of where that groove is, because at the end of the day, as the bass player, that groove, that foundational thing is still one of the most important elements for me. So I always want to be aware of what that groove is, where that groove is going, and like any line that I want to take, I can take that same concept. And it's something that's really simple and it's really short and it's really to the point. I don't want to drag this out. And that's like ground level for simply understand how to land a line, or how to land a lick or a riff or something that you're working on. Simply practice it in context of a groove. I know you're working on trying to make sure you get all the notes and get the timing, and everybody's working with timing and notes and trying to get the ghost notes and all that stuff together. But the most important thing is context. And if I can get it in the context of the groove, I can make everything, I can kind of slightly manipulate everything else to make sense in context once I figure out the full context of the song. So guys, that's pretty much it for today's lesson. I just wanted to give you that quick tip on how to start landing the lick. So if you want to get more into this lesson, we're going to dig just a little bit deeper and talk about adding variation and getting more than one thing out of one particular lick. We can get multiple variations out of one lick. And so I'm going to talk more about that in the monthly membership. If you're not a member, you're probably already missing out. I've recently added some different options to the monthly memberships where you can get one-on-one lessons with me as well. So I'll be sure to drop that link below where you can do that. And of course, I have limited, very, very limited spaces available. So it's kind of a first come, first serve, sorry, but it's a lot of people. So it's first come, first serve, but I do have that option available. So, but other than that, guys, I really appreciate you being here. And I will put the link below where you can claim your 2 free bass licks from me today. I'll put that in the description as well. Be sure you claim those 2 free bass licks. And as usual, guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm out. Peace.